Hi, my name is Andrew Taylor. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching the video. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you guys about an issue that I actually see happening more and more in today's Agile world, specifically on the project management side of the house. Um, it's how to deal with difficult employees. And when I say difficult, I don't necessarily mean mean or jerks or rude or anything like that. What I mean is people that might be set in their ways. They might be very opinionated, not open to hearing other people's ideas. People kind of along those lines. However, these individuals aren't someone that you can actually just say, hey, it's not working out. I hope you find another job. Can't let them go from the team. They're very knowledgeable. They're very, very good at what they do. However, they still are causing a little bit of issue with the team. So I wanted to kind of step back and talk about that with you guys today. Before I do that, though, let me give you guys a little bit of intro on myself. I am actually a project manager for the last 4 years. I know that's not a long amount of time in the grand scheme of things. However, in my short time, I worked on a few different projects with some very highly skilled teams, some very seasoned individuals, and some of them with some very strong personalities and very conflicting personalities at times as well, with other people on the team or with my own personality. So I have a lot of experience in this area. And just for the record, this video, I really wanted to focus more towards the beginning project managers, the people that are just starting out or have only been a project manager for a year or two. Maybe you're actually moving from a technical role into this project management role, and it can be a little bit challenging of how to actually handle that team dynamic with a person like this on the team. So hopefully I can give you guys a few tips, a few tricks, and hopefully help you guys identify issues that this employee causes, kind of identifying what that team structure looks like, and also what some of the negative side effects of this employee are, along with the good things that they bring. And then what do you do to manage the team and that person to actually get the most out of them, turn their behavior and their attitude or personality, if you will, into a positive. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about today is what are those actual issues that a difficult employee can cause within an Agile team. And when I say Agile, I don't necessarily mean software development. I mean any actual team that uses the Agile methodology, whether it's Scrum, Kanban, whatever method you're using, you can actually still cause issues. I mean, Agile is a great tool as long as it's used appropriately. Waterfall is also a great tool as long as it's used appropriately, but that's a whole nother topic for another video. For this one though, one of the major problems that I see with these employees is they kind of tend to dominate. They kind of tend to take over the conversations, or they shut down other people's discussions or opinions when they don't necessarily agree with it. And they're most likely not doing it maliciously. They're most likely not doing it to be mean, not because they're afraid that someone else has better ideas, anything like that. It's more just because they believe that they're right. They believe that they know what's best. And maybe it's because they've been part of the team for so long. Maybe because they've tried the opinion that's come up. Just because they're much more seasoned than the other employees speaking. However, that leads to two issues that I see. The first is it's a bottleneck. And what I mean by that is the team gets to this point where they feel like all decisions need to run through this one employee. If you're a project manager and let's say that employee's out sick or on vacation for a week, and you sit down and you try to talk to the team about, hey, we had this new thing come in, we need to get it up and running, what do we need to do? What are your suggestions? How do we get this stuff going? And all of a sudden you're going to start hearing the team say things like, well, blah, 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 I think this, but I need to run it by this person. Or blah, 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 I think this is a great idea. However, I need to run it by this person, or I need to sync with this person, or I have questions for this person, or I need to have this person check this, or I've done the design. However, I need to run it by this person. I need to get their sign off. There's going to be a lot of this repetitive, this person, this person, this person. I'm dependent on this person. I need to talk to this person. I need to have them verify. I need to have them approve. Things like that. That's not how a healthy Agile team works. An Agile team is a unit. It's not led by one single individual. Sometimes it can feel that way when you're the project manager, but you're not leading the team. You're a servant leader. You're doing things to help them succeed. However, in this case, this person is actually causing almost a checkpoint that everybody needs to run their work through before it can actually be signed off. While sometimes that's great, especially for when you have a junior level person or a brand new person to the team, that's fine. However, when you're seeing this and hearing this come from people that have been on the team for 2 to 3 years, people that are well aware of the job, what needs to get done, how it needs to get done, the right things to look out for, that's a problem. You're not operating at the best efficiency that you can be. And like I said, if that person's on vacation, that person is out sick, and if they up and win the lottery the next day, what's going to happen to your team? They're going to kind of feel lost. They're going to kind of feel like, well, I don't have this guy's approval. What am I going to do? Or if he's on vacation, well, I don't have his approval and I need to push this through. What if I'm wrong? Am I going to incur the wrath, or am I going to be yelled at by this person because I did something without their approval? That's not healthy. That's not something you want to see in a team, and that's kind of one of the problems. The second piece that I see with this, and the second major issue, and it kind of ties into the first one, is poor communication. The team is most likely going to be closed off, especially if that person's present in the meeting. If that person's present, they're most likely going to take over. They're going to talk about what they believe needs to be done. They're going to start dictating out things, or maybe not dictating, but delegating would probably be a better word. Delegating out work to be done, even though the whole team maybe doesn't agree on it. And the other team members are going to be less likely and feel less comfortable about sharing their thoughts and their beliefs and their opinions about what needs to be done and the right way to do it. As we all know, as project managers, especially in Agile, communication is incredibly key. You need to make sure that everybody's communicating. You need to make sure that everybody is aware of what everybody else is doing. And everybody's on the same page. That's why we have daily scrums. That's why we have all the ceremony meetings that we have, to make sure that everybody is on the same page. While it may feel like everybody's on the same page because they're all doing what this one person believes is the right thing to do, it could actually be causing some resentment. It could actually be causing some issues with other team members saying, well, I wanted to do it this way, or I think this is a better method, or I believe that this operating system, or this solution, or this product, or this material is better than what they're suggesting, and here's why. They're probably right, or it's at least a good conversation to debate so that you have a healthy team dynamic of, we have option A and we have option B. Let's weigh the pros and cons, figure out which one's the right one to do, and go do that one. However, you're not getting option A and option B with this. You're getting option A, and we're going to go do that because this person says it's the right one to do. And over time, that's really going to hurt the team. You're just getting a singular point of view. Your team can become tunnel visioned. You could miss out on things, either good or bad. You could really pigeonhole yourselves in the type of technology that you're using because you don't have multiple perspectives helping solve a problem. So those are a few of the actual issues that I see that this causes. Coming up, I'm actually going to talk about the team structure a little bit more, and then how to actually manage that team too. For the team structure for a team that has a difficult employee, what does that look like? Do you know who the difficult employee is? Is it easy for you to identify? Probably. Although sometimes, not always. Sometimes that person could actually be the easiest person for you to work with. They could be the ones that get their statuses to you. They are always pushing things forward. They're making sure everyone else is doing the work. They're kind of helping you out as project manager. They're putting in all the efforts and all the hours, and all the estimates and all the tasks, and helping you with the breakdown. That's great. However, they could be causing issues with other people on the team. They could be causing problems with other groups within your organization that you're trying to work with because they are delegating out work and because they are saying this is what we need to do and here's how we're going to do it. That is an issue. While good for you, lucky for the project manager, you have a helpful employee, that's great. it's still not healthy for the team, especially if they're kind of in a leadership role on that team. It's if they're the senior person, if they are the one that the rest of the team kind of looks up to because they know the most about the solution, then you're actually helping instill this dynamic of, well, they're right, whatever they say goes. There's no need to ever bring up another opinion. Everybody needs to get their stuff checked through this person. Everybody else can be closed off because this person will handle it. He has the right ideas. Nobody else will be listened to. Do you just kind of hear how that continues to grow and continue to just build and build and build? Now imagine that over the course of years. Imagine that over the course of multiple sprints, over multiple like side projects that come up for this team to do. I work in software. We support an application, and so that application is live and up and running 24/7. The application is built. The application is there. However, we're always having to improve it. We're always having to do new things to it. What that means is sometimes we have to do really small stuff, which is really easy. However, sometimes we have to do major overhauls of this application. What that means then is we have to have huge planning meetings. We have to almost treat these projects and overhauls as their own little project within our overall kind of world, if you will. So imagine all of these little projects coming up, and this one person takes the lead on this one, and they say this is how we're going to do it. And then another one comes up, and they say this is how we're going to do this one. And another one comes up, and this is how we're going to do this one. All the while, you have all these little ones in there that they're also, kind of commanding and saying, here's what we're going to do, and here's why we're going to do it, and all that stuff. That can cause the rest of the team to feel like they're not valued. That can cause the rest of the team to feel like their opinions and their expertise and their knowledge and their past experience isn't valued as well as this person. And that's not something you want. You really want a cohesive unit. You want to have a team where everybody feels appreciated. Everybody feels listened to. Everybody feels like their opinion matters and like they're able to say what they believe and why they think that they have the right option. On my team, I actually encourage those discussions. I encourage people to have a little bit of conflict, as long as it's healthy. If people start yelling and getting out of hand, then that's not good. But I'd like to have a little bit of debate, and I'd like to hear multiple sides of things and different views as to how do we solve this? How do we do this? What's the best way? What are the pros and cons of each one? And with this difficult employee, that's incredibly hard to do. And again, you have to look for those warning signs because it's not always easy for you to figure out what is going on sometimes. If, again, what I said before, I need to check with this person, I need to get verification, I need to get sign off, that's a key one. That's easy to do. If you're hearing other things come from, like, let's say you have subdivisions within your teams. You have a development team, you have a testing team, you have a support or operations team. If you're hearing from the testing group that they keep having issues getting certain things from one side, it could be that you have a bad, or not a bad, but a difficult employee on that certain side that they're having issues with. And that employee is causing an issue and growing their difficult mindset to the rest of that group, whether they're doing it to the people or whether they've taken over that group and are the bottleneck and they're the ones that are doing all the communication out. Then it's only going to be difficult for anybody else to work with them, for anyone else to get information out of them. So those are kind of the things to look for. Listen to what the rest of your group is saying. Listen to how they behave. And kind of notice what happens when certain individuals aren't around. Do people perk up? Do more people talk? Do more people give their opinion? Do you hear negative things about somebody? That's a very obvious one. But some of, the less obvious are people are more chatty. People are more able to give their opinion in team meetings. People give their feedback. People seem a little bit more excited about taking something on. Those are kind of things to look at. If that person's not around and all of a sudden the dynamic changes a little bit, that's a pretty good indicator. So make sure you're paying attention to that, not just how the team functions overall, but how different pieces of the team are functioning and how the team functions when different people are and are not present as well. All right, so we've talked about what are the issues that can be caused. How do you identify them? or how do you identify that you have a problem? So, what do you do? How do you actually manage this? You're the project manager. You're the one that keeps the ship moving forward, right? So, what do you do? Well, first, you can address the behavior one-on-one. If you know who it is, if you know the problems that they're causing, try having a talk with them. Most people are open. Most people are willing to hear it. Don't get in their face and say, oh, you're being mean and you're messing stuff. No, absolutely not. You're a PM. Use your PM skills. You're a PM for a reason. You have the ability to manage this. Sit down, talk to them, have a great one-on-one with them. Say, hey, by the way, this person was bringing something up. What's going on there? Do you know anything? And when they give you their side, maybe there's kind of two sides to this. Maybe they're being difficult, but they have a good reason for it. If not, and you say, hey, heard an issue, maybe they'll go, oh, really? I didn't know that was a problem. Maybe it's something they're doing, subconsciously. Maybe it's something that they're not purposely doing, which is 9 times out of 10 going to be what's going on. Maybe they're trying to be a leader, if you will, and they're going about it the wrong way. I've actually seen this happen where one person was very pushy and you need to make sure you have this and you got to do this and you have to do this. In his mind, he was being a leader and he was helping people become better and making them more prepared and everything like that. However, he would tell them all the stuff they needed to do every single time. It wasn't just the first 1 or 2 or 5 times. It was every single time. So he felt like they were never getting better because he always had to keep telling them. And they felt like he was always dictating what to do because he always kept telling them even though they knew what to do. So sometimes it can be as simple as having a conversation with them saying, hey, by the way, heard about this. Need to have a talk. That's not something we want to have happen. Blah, blah, blah. What's your take on it? What do you think's going on? What do you think's happening? Because a lot of times these senior guys, they want to be leaders, but they also need help. And they also need to get feedback as well on how they're doing in that role. A lot of times from what I've seen with software developers, they're kind of timid. They're not going to really be open to giving that feedback. It's sometimes your job to step in and help give that. If you have a common manager, though, which I have for most of mine, where all of the employees that I work with, along with myself, we all report up to one person. Sometimes you can have, instead of a one-on-one, you can have a meeting with the manager and say, hey, by the way, this has kind of come up. I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a recurring theme. Looks like there might be something going on with this person. They're kind of dictating, they're taking over. We're not able to have fluid conversations. And the manager, which they're the people manager, they're going to go do their job and they're going to go have that conversation. If you're not comfortable having it, see if there's a higher up or someone else who's willing to have that conversation with them. Another thing too is you can actually just kind of go around them. It's not something I prefer to do. I've had to do it a few times just to help make sure the other employees were comfortable and they were okay. But you go talk to the other people and say, hey, you kind of seem like you were having some thoughts or some ideas in that meeting, and I don't feel like they really got heard. What was your thought? What was your idea? And kind of have a one-on-one with them. Go to them, empower them. Say, hey, I recognize that you had stuff you wanted to say. What was it? Give them that chance and give them that opportunity. If they're new, then they might have some outside-the-box ideas, and that'll be great. Or they could have ideas that you guys know you've tried, and it's just not going to work. And you can explain that to them in a very calm project manager style way. It's really up to you and what your PM style is. Like I said before, I kind of encourage a little bit of conflict in discussions, but that's only to make sure that we're getting the best out of the team. That's only to make sure that we're actually getting the best result possible by having a little bit of debate, by having a little bit of disagreement. But you want to make sure that it's healthy, and you want to make sure that both sides are being heard and one side isn't being shut down by the difficult employee. So last but not least, if it really comes down to it, if it really, really is an issue with this person, unfortunately, you might have to have that discussion with them and say, hey, look, you're causing some issues, you're causing some problems, we're seeing some issues, really need you to step back, really need you to kind of tone it down. You're not letting other people talk. That's really last resort. I've had to do that with one person. Unfortunately, they weren't a good fit in many areas, and they were actually let go about 6 months later. So if you have to come to that point, there's probably a lot more going on with that individual, and they might just not be a good fit for your team. But just remember, just because someone is a difficult employee doesn't mean they're a good fit, or doesn't mean they're not a good fit for your team. They could still be phenomenal for your team. They could be a great asset to have. They could drive the team to be better. They could help push the other people to be better. You just have to make sure that you're helping buffer that if needed. So again, thank you guys very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I hope I helped some of you guys out. Would love to hear from you guys. Would love to hear your feedback. So please give a comment and like if you like the video. Thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys later.